I'm a first year comp ski at Cambridge University, and I'm here to tell you how students eat here. I'll be talking about Cambridge formals.
The first thing you think about when you hear food at Cambridge. But is the food all that worth it?
You'll learn a lot about the servery at King's College.
Basically a full English breakfast for a pretty decent price.
And I touch upon takeaways and food from other colleges at the end.
The second place you need to visit is the Cambridge Crepes store.
If you think you'll enjoy, then you can multitask like I'm doing right now. Press the like button below this video. Thank you.
Right, so it was the King's Freshers meet at the start of first year. It's October, it's dark, I knew maybe 3 people from my first day there. We had to stand outside and the venue was this huge socially distanced tent on the lawn behind King's College. After the event, the head of the kitchen was walking past and he said, "After this, come to the canteen, the best food in Cambridge." Now, he's going to be a little biased, but King's College has a worth of about £100 million, which is above average, so it's not too far-fetched to say the food will be about the same. I'm just going to start off by saying the Saturday and Sunday brunches are some of the best meals I've had in Cambridge. Because of subsidised pricing for King's students, for about £6 you can get a fried egg, 2 sausages, the vegan ones are literally the best ones I've ever had, a portion of baked beans, like 6 small hash browns. There's also mushrooms, croissants, basically a full English breakfast every Saturday and Sunday for a pretty decent price. I hadn't had many before going to Cambridge, but it's now one of my favourite meals, thanks to the catering. Also, my college does takeaway. This surprised me. I initially thought you could only show up and eat in the hall, and I'm not sure if this was only introduced because of COVID. Right now, all meals are given to you in takeout containers, and it's up to you whether you want to stay and eat in the hall or get a paper bag and go back to your room, which is what my antisocial ass does every single day. Also, every day there's usually 2 to 3 desserts to choose from. It could be a chocolate sponge cake slice, a cheesecake slice. It was only about 2 months in that I realized the level for this deliciousness was because the college has a chef dedicated to desserts. So, you can treat yourself to a different dessert 2 times a week, or you can be a fatty like me and have one 6 of the 7 days in the last week of term. Next, and this probably isn't a thing at all colleges because King's is pretty progressive, but every main item on the menu is listed with the carbon emission level. There's a little tree on the menu next to the item that gives you a scale as to how many miles the ingredients of the meal have had to travel to get to the college. I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm not the most aware environmentalist, but that was something I picked up on, and I'm sure most of you watching this would love to cut down your carbon footprint. Also, whether you're a meat lover or a vegan, there's options for everyone, every single day. I'm veg, and there's always something for me to eat. I found out about meat-free Mondays for dinner every single Monday when I showed up in the first few weeks on a Monday. King's College also has a coffee shop, open from 9 AM to 7 PM, I believe. Again, for student prices, you can get a caffeine fix here. I haven't tried the coffee yet. They also have fruit pots, and I'm not even going to pretend like this isn't my favourite part. But there's 10-inch pizzas available in 5 minutes for £5, and this is a 3-minute walk from my room. So if you're like me or any other person, you'll have to stay bloody disciplined. I wouldn't be being honest if I wasn't transparent about the downsides, and there are some. At the till, you can only pay with your student ID card, and you get your bill at the end of term, or in the next term. And the prices aren't next to your food. So unless you take the time to pre-check the prices every time, or you ask for a receipt every time, it's hard to know exactly how much you're spending at the canteen. I'll tell you with confidence, you probably could make cheaper meals by yourself, but nevertheless, it's still cheaper than takeaways. Also, the kitchen staff make a really big effort in keeping the food as healthy as they can. So, if you're picky about food, you'll be hard-pressed to find something that will appetize you every single day. Got to go in with an open mind, or else make your own food and only go in on days when they're serving pizza. Formals. Now we're going to talk about formals. The first thing you think about when you hear food at Cambridge. Do you have to wear full attire? Is it really that expensive? Well, I've been to one socially distanced formal with 9 people in a room that could have dined about 30. Usually, in non-lockdown conditions, the tickets are super competitive. I had one 4th-year computer scientist student had to code up a ticket buying bot to ensure he got tickets, because they sell out within seconds. Students loved them before lockdown, but is the food all that worth it? The formal I went to was a Japanese bento box event. I know nothing about bento boxes and slightly more than nothing about Japanese food in general. I can't judge the food with my uncultured ass tongue. I just don't know what a good bento box tastes like. But I can tell you, the food at these formals will show you something new. For just 20-ish pounds, you're getting a fine dining experience at an exclusive event with a 3-course meal. It likely won't fill you up, but the portion sizes are pretty small, so they probably won't fill up most people. So if you end up studying here, please go to a formal. And as for catering at other Cambridge colleges, according to the university website, all colleges have catering and encourage their students to use their facility because they believe their food is good value for money. When it comes to restaurants and takeaways for students, at the tail end of this last term, when people were leaving within a week or two, it wasn't uncommon for people to go out and just get takeaway instead of cooking food or going to the servery. I am a 75 kg, 5'10" male, and I can fill myself up pretty well on an 8 to 10 pound takeaway. 2 places I can recommend if you're near the centre of town. Number 1, the Trailer of Life next to the Cambridge Market. On Google Maps it says this place is open till like 3 AM, which was insane during lockdown because every restaurant had to close at 10 PM because of the curfew. This place came in clutch so many times. Their prices aren't terrible and they do quesadillas, so I'm happy. The second place you need to visit is the Cambridge Crepes store. Like the food, not the shoe. I mean, you knew that because it's in the title. Irrelevant side story, but I went there with some friends 2 weeks ago, and as a Londoner, I'm used to impolite service, people grunting at me going, here's your food. I don't really care at this point, but I showed up to the store, and the guy working there was so polite and so friendly, it creeped me out. I thought he was playing some kind of game. No, they're just really friendly at Cambridge. Again, for about £3.50, you can get some pretty decent crepes. They're usually in the same place, and for me, I arguably live in the centre of Cambridge. So if I want to pick up takeaway, from the moment I'm sitting in my chair and I decide I want a certain cuisine, it's no more than 6 minutes until I'm at that takeaway place. Right, so I haven't been able to tell you about every college, but now you should have some insight into how the average Cambridge student eats. I would say 50% of my meals were from my servery, 25% I would cook by myself. This was mostly spaghetti or pasta or rice that I would put into these plastic containers, and that would be my lunch for the next 3 days. And then another 25% of food was just takeaway, restaurants, etc. Food here is cheaper than London unis, and it's basically guaranteed your college can take care of at least 2 meals a day. There's about 9 supermarkets spread out pretty well over Cambridge, so I don't think any college will be more than a kilometre from any supermarket, in case you want to cook your own food the whole time. Also, normally in non-lockdown conditions, they're legally allowed to serve you wine, which I'm pretty sure is for free, and I'm pretty sure they have some nice old wine stored somewhere. I've been eating pretty well. I've had food that I'd only seen in movies, at my college servery, and at my formal, but I've also definitely had food I felt like I've overpaid for. My college servery is pretty ambitious with trying out different cuisines, but they can't source ingredients from too far away because of carbon emissions, and they're on a budget, so sometimes it can be a letdown for the price you're paying. Well, that's pretty much everything. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're now going to be more informed about food at Cambridge. Have a good day, stay healthy, goodbye. Also, subscribe if you haven't, because my last video got 500 views and I have 70 subscribers, so what's going on here? Come on, guys.